My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, Season 9, Episode 23. The Big Mac Question. And now you know why I didn't say the name of this episode last week.
Yeah. When I went to watch it, I saw the title. I'm like, oh, fuck. I know what exactly is going to happen.
No, the Big Mac question is this. Would you like fries with that?
And then I saw Discord and Spike at the very beginning. I'm like, yeah, I know exactly how this episode's going to go down. Like, yep.
Also, for Big Mac, would you like an apple pie?
Can we just all agree on one thing?
That's funny
Discord
because
and apples do not mix.
What apples don't mix?
Discord and apples do not mix.
Well, not in this instance, but perhaps in another.
Now, if you consider his first time with apples.
Are you talking about when he created and made Applejack a liar by the fibbing apple talking apples?
Yeah.
Surprisingly similar to the apples of this episode, come to think of it.
Yeah, Discord and apples do not put them together.
Or at least don't let Discord the apples.
That too.
It's just like, just leave it to, if you want to have an apple dish, just leave it to either the cakes or the apples. One of the two, they'll take care of it.
Although in the Hearts and Hooves episode, he did pretty decently with that apple souffle or pie or whatever it was he was the Discordian microwave for. Although it did also end up going to the wrong ponies, so there is that.
Yeah, but, it wouldn't be Discord if there wasn't chaos in some form or fashion.
And just like Q, his chaos usually ends up helpful after he's been performed.
Yeah. So just a couple notes I wanted to get out of the way before going into the episode proper, just to hit some overall things that are interesting about this episode. Interesting that this episode contains no main six speaking. It does have Saint Germain as Mrs. Cake and Granny Smith, but none of the main six have a line.
True.
Applejack doesn't speak during the wedding. We don't see we don't see any of the other, we get the CMC, we get Spike, and then Big Mac, Sugar Bell, the cakes, we get all that, but no main six.
Okay then. It's like slice of life, only.
Yeah. Except they don't get a line. except Tabitha St. Germain, because she gets her lines because she's Granny Smith and Mrs. Cake.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was everybody else in the main six. Take a day off. Though I figure with
the episode was the actors were getting too expensive.
Yeah, maybe in a way of saving some money. Though you got John Delancey in for it.
So. Yeah, anytime he's in an episode, all the budget goes to him.
Exactly. Yeah, it's too expensive to bring in.
Yeah, I guess it's so expensive to get him in. They're like, all right, we're not going to have any of. You don't even have Applejack in her own brother's wedding. Anything? Nope. We can't afford to have the main any of the main cast in because we're gonna do that. And I'm sure they'll get plenty of lines in the next, in the episodes that come out Saturday. I'm sure they'll get plenty of lines there. But it is kind of refreshing in a way. It's like we can have an episode without them.
Who voices Mayor Mare?
No, it was it.
I thought
I don't. Oh,
like,
Kathy Wiseluck,
oh,
Spike's voice
okay.
actress.
I knew it was one of the main people. I just forgot which one.
Yes, it was. I think it's Kathy Wiseluck. Um, but yeah, so not even there. And the other thing that people they didn't pounce much on that. I just thought that was an interesting thing when I was, got to the end of it. And Applejack didn't say anything. I was like, have we had any of the main six in those?
It's not
Anyway,
that.
but an interesting thing that got a lot of hoopla. Um, if you hadn't uh, been seeing it very much, we do while this whole episode is going on. You have the chaos with the apples, the talking apples in the market, just talking to anybody about what they want to say. You also got a background proposal of Bon Bon and Lyra in the
I
background.
know.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, it was all over the place.
It's official. They're officially a couple.
It was funny
Aw,
because it's blink and you miss it sort of thing, and it's one of them tries to propose. Like I think it's Bon Bon tries to propose with a ring, and then Lyra pulls out a pulls out an engagement ring box as well, and then it's like, oh yeah, okay. And then
Yeah.
they were
aw.
it was the same kind of idea. They were both going to propose, but they just sort of did it at the same time. It's like, okay,
Yeah. See, we put as, oh, they're a couple. But other people put it as, oh, it's best friend rings. Like,
or no, they're just showing off their rings from their boyfriends. Yes. I
yeah.
got engaged. So did I. Why aren't you wearing it? But
Oh, that's adorable.
yeah, but it's super blink and you miss it sort of situation. They don't put it out front. It's I mean I missed it every time I watched it. I didn't catch it. I had to go back and watch. You know, this is the okay. Look for timestamps in the comments. Like, oh yeah, here it is, or did that, or I also saw some gifs that just sort of clipped that bit, and you could see what happened. But that was a big, oh my goodness, they did that sort of situation. Um, but yeah, they kind of hid that in the background, which was interesting. Um, but yeah, just those are a couple of big things to kind of get out of the way before we started going over the episode proper. So this one they used the same sort of framing device. They've used this sort of framing device before with the sort of it's almost an interviewer sort of situation, like they did with that. Was it the Saddle Row Review or I forget which one it was? Um, where they basically just had um, they had the ponies sitting across the table doing that. You know, they'd occasionally check in with them and talk with them, you um, but it was told from two different, it's told from two different perspectives. You see that one perspective, and then you cut back and you see it from the other perspective. Um, uh, which they don't tell you what it is, what's going on off the bat. But if you've looked at the title, it's kind of obvious. But it's like, yeah, this was very important, but also kind of chaotic. Um, so we get the boys are all together, Discord, Spike, Big Mac, and we find out that Discord has a big mouth.
Apparently.
And a few uh, interesting secrets. Uh, Fluttershy fears clowns.
I mean, yeah.
That's not too weird, but it's, Twilight apparently occasionally sleep trots through town.
Not surprising.
Yeah, she seems like that might be a thing she would do when she's stressed out. And Octavia went on a date with Bulk Biceps. Talk about an odd couple.
Eh.
And so, but that, for the Scratch-Tavia shippers, it must be annoying. Anyway, so some skill that Spike has shown before, but it's kind of interesting, is that his sort of almost telepathic sort of being able to read just from charades, by figuring out exactly what Big Mac was going to do simply from what he was going to use like that. It's just like, yeah, that. It's like, okay, it's kind of a thing we know he can do. So that was kind of interesting to bring that back in. So they assigned Spike to the food, Discord to the apple crumb trail, and Big Mac to building a bench like the shelving he made for Sugar's shop. But also on the Spike thing, I also made a note that I think I kind of like it because it saves Big Mac from saying too much in a stretch that isn't sort of a final speech, because it sounds kind of odd hearing his voice for more than a few syllables in a row.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, yes, well, we know Big Mac can do that, but he doesn't. He's Big Mac. Yep, nope, and maybe a quick burst of a sentence or two, but he doesn't speak in long, drawn out means.
Every time I say, yep, it cost the studio $20,000.
Uh, let's see. Sugar and the CMC blow out of the shop with a pie, missing the apple that was placed at Sugar Cube Corner. So they need to get her to notice the apple. Discord, interesting line. Don't be such a drama dragon. I've precipitated liquid cocoa on Equestria and herded long-limbed Leporidae. I can certainly make a pony see an apple. Leporidae is rabbits. These rained cocoa and herded rabbits. So, yeah. So, Spike's trying to get the food. Mrs. Cake is obviously very, very busy. And she's also very, very secretive. Okay.
I think it kicked me out of the call or something.
Okay. Because it went real staticky there for a second and then came back. You're fine now. Anyway, so Mrs. Cake has her hooves full with a very big and very secretive order that isn't up to her usual standards, as Spike discovers. So, yeah. 21 desserts. All at the same time. Are you feeding an army?
No, that's just what Pinkie Pie orders.
Then I just got this thought. It popped in my head. We have an army. We have a Big Mac. Who's gonna eat all this? Um, so let's see. Sugar grabs some flowers, but Mrs. Discord's apple placement again. He gets fed up with this and decides, you know what the best solution to this? Sentient fruit. And we have a walking, talking army of apples who also think the apple sort of notes are a little schmaltzy. But even the apples think you're laying it on a bit thick. But I guess what you do when you're loved. But for better or worse, Spike's attempt to speed up the note placement in the pies with Dragonfire ends in destruction of the order. So, but considering the stress had made her mess up a few times, it might have been for the best.
Those aren't cupcakes. Those are cup bads.
Baked. These aren't baked. No, that was baked goods and baked bads. Yeah.
Yeah.
Discord's failure to address the messages properly leads to bedlam as the apples talk to everyone in the market. Apparently, bananas listen much better than apples.
Well, I mean, duh. What other fruit makes a great fake phone?
Yeah, that was my next thing I was going to say. Was that a banana phone joke?
Yeah, it was.
Oh, Discord. Why?
Because it's Discord. He can't not. He just can't not.
It comes down to one of my favorite lines of the episode. Like, it's a pair of lines, but it's my favorite little bit of dialogue from this episode. I guess this can't get any worse. Discord, as the Lord of Chaos, I'd advise against saying things like that.
I'm surprised he didn't just bring up a piece of wood and knock on it.
Of course, this is immediately followed by the by Granny Smith and the CMC coming back as one big apple monster chases them from Sweet Apple Acres because he'd sent the apples back there. But somehow along the way, something terrible happened. Though for being a monster, it's not exactly a mean monster. It just sort of slobbers and speaks. It doesn't really try and hurt anybody.
Yeah, but it does scare people.
Oh yes, absolutely. But for their normal monsters, this one was actually, though scary, was actually not hurting anybody.
Yeah.
Or not, wasn't even trying to hurt anybody. He was just trying to deliver his message. Then we switch perspectives and we get Sugar Bell was trying to do the message in a dessert right this time in order to lure Big Mac to the Sugar Cube Corner. So he was trying to get her to Sweet Apple Acres. She was trying to get him from Sweet Apple Acres to Sugar Cube Corner. Each of the 21 desserts had a one-word proposal with one dessert to invite him. Seeing the guys sparked them to run past them with the pie so as not to spill the beans.
It's like, I have a secret. I have a secret. Both our secrets are the same, but we can't tell each other because they're secret.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, an interesting bit of faulty memory on Apple, which the face they make when she makes the second one, because the first thing she says, you know, when I'm looking for something, Granny always says it's best to check the least likely place. And, you know, when I'm looking for some pony, Granny says it's best to just stay in one place. Let's head back to the farm and wait. Big Mac is sure to show up soon. It's like, just death glares.
Like, if we weren't friends, I would kill you right now.
Dang an apple bloom. And then we get one of the weirdest bits of the episode. It makes sense, but it's sort of weird. So they visit Granny Smith, and she mixes up her series a bit. It's about grandpa, only it wasn't. We were in outer space, on some kind of mission to explore a strange new world. And Brudbriar was there, being as logical as ever, but his ears was all pointy-like. And then Discord showed up, and, well, you know, he was pretty much the same.
I mean, it's Granny Smith.
Yeah. And then later on we get, it was all
Too much.
green, and then Grandpa looked at me all dramatical and says, where no pony has gone before. And whoosh, away we flew. Well, it wouldn't be the first time Shatner had been involved with a green lady. Shatner's character had been involved in a green lady.
Drugs are a magical thing. Also fermented applesauce.
I'd just get you drunk. I don't think that would... Then I'd never been drunk, so I don't know what if that affects your dreams or anything. But so the giant apple monster both says it and sprays it. Discord eventually disperses it, while the rest of the helpers point fingers. The couple sneaks off. It's like, while you're arguing, we're just going to leave and go do something else. Discord, yeah, and we get probably the second favorite bit of dialogue in this thing. Discord, you should both be very disappointed in yourselves. It's gonna, what about you and your apple monster? Yes, but you all expect that of me.
I mean, true.
Yeah. So then we're sort of shuffled back to the present, or depending on, you know, how you view what the present is in this episode. But we get back to the initial sort of scene, and the group feels bad about their mistakes. The couple are walking down the path toward the entwined trees. Entwined trees. Try saying that 5 times fast. Where we got a very sweet exchange and a proposal. And I'm wondering if I didn't go check, but the path they walk down, if it's the same path, if they used assets from "You're in My Head Like a Catchy Song," from the Perfect Pair episode. That would not surprise me, and it would be a really sweet thing to do. But I'll go ahead and go through the exchange, because I think it's a really sweet exchange. I'm sorry, Sugar Belle. I wanted everything to go right today. I wanted our love to be perfect, as my parents was when they planted these 2 trees together. Instead, it turned into a mess, just like when I asked you out, just like Carson Hooves Day. No matter how hard I try, I always seem to mess up when it comes to you. Sugar Belle, I think you've got things backwards. Big Macintosh, what do you mean? From everything you told me about your parents, they had to deal with things a lot tougher than some burnt desserts and an apple monster. There was no apple monster, but Discord was stoned at the time, so... Big Mac, I guess that's true. Sugar Belle, this apple tree...
Your pardon? I've never been stoned in my life.
He was a statue at the time, then. This
Well,
apple...
I mean, statuesque.
This apple tree and pear tree are stronger together. They'll survive whatever comes because they don't have to do it alone. Because they're apples to the core. They belong together. Like your parents and like us. Yup. Today was a disaster, but today was also the last day we're ever going to have to do anything apart. From here on out, we'll be together. And we'll make sure everything always works out just right. Which makes me wonder how long the time is between engagement and marriage in Equestria. Like, what's that like? Is that, I mean,
Well, just like IRL, it can vary. I mean, there are some people who have been dating for a couple months, and decide to get married, and then 2 weeks later they're married. And some people who have been dating for years and get engaged and never get married, and then there are some people who have been dating for years and then decide to get married and then just elope. So
Yeah.
it depends really on the being rather than the overall
Yeah.
average.
Well, and just wondering out loud about the typical one in Equestria, because we're actually not. I'm not sure we're actually given a how long it was between engagement and marriage. But then again, it's not a particular.
It wasn't as detailed as, say, Cranky
Yeah,
and Matilda.
there weren't
That one,
invitations. They just sort of gathered it, and I have a guest list. I went ahead and wrote that down, but yeah, they knew all the people they were going to have in, and most of them were already involved. So if they wanted to have it that day,
Yeah, Discord was just probably like, snap, okay, I brought everybody here, and everybody's like, what the hell's going on? Oh, it's a
wedding.
wedding.
Okay.
yeah, I mean, Discord was involved, so that expedites things. Also, it was a simpler
Yeah. Oh, it was an extremely simple wedding.
it was in the orchard. There wasn't a lot of decoration put forth. There wasn't a lot of like setup. Whereas Cranky and Matilda's, that one looks like one that was taken maybe a year to plan.
I don't know about a year, but longer term. Yeah, it was a lot longer term.
Wrong the day up.
Yeah,
But
it couldn't have. I don't. Well, I say that. I was like, it couldn't have been the same day. But then again, we have Discord, so it could have been if he was feeling particularly nice. He'd created enough chaos that day that if he made a little order, it wouldn't hurt him too bad.
but he does like to help out. I mean, look at Ogres and Oubliettes.
Yeah, but it's usually it's hard to say the rules of Discord because he's Discord.
And again,
but
Carson Tuesday thing. That entire episode was him helping out without helping out. That was one of his few isms where I can't directly interfere, but I can give him a nudge in the right direction.
Yeah. Well, it's just mostly him creating chaos. Like if it helps and it also creates chaos, he can do whatever he wants. But if it doesn't help, I think and it doesn't create. If it helps, but it doesn't create chaos or creates order instead, sometimes that doesn't. Unless it's just undoing what he did. There's it's hard to say. Anyway, an interesting bit is the engagement ring.
If anybody ever figured out Discord, then Discord would cease to be because his entire existence is the whole concept of chaos theory.
No, what would happen is they would be immediately subsumed into Discord.
Possibly. I would not mind this. I'm going to go research.
They would be immediately subsumed into Discord and then become one of the fold.
Just do research.
Anyway, his engagement ring is on a necklace. I wonder if that's an Earth Pony thing. Though that it does seem a little odd considering she's got a horn. But I will say this though, that married bakers will instead of putting their, like when they're going to work, they won't necessarily wear their wedding ring on their finger. They'll put it on a necklace and wear it like that instead, just so things don't get in there. But if she tips her horn down, there's I guess it could fit snugly against the horn enough to do that, but maybe she just wants to be secure that she's not going to lose her engagement ring in a pie somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
That could be really awkward for some guy who goes down to Sugar Corner or to Sugar Bell's shop and buys a pie and takes it to his girlfriend, and and finds an engagement ring.
Marry you. What? No. No.
Yeah, now, if you really want to have some real fun, go to like the Dollar Tree or whatever and buy like fake little plastic rings, and then just go to fancy restaurants dropping into champagne glasses. Like, oh my god, yes! Like, what? No, no, no!
Or no, not in the champagne glasses. Drop it like when the waiter is walking past with the dessert tray. Just drop it in random desserts. Especially if you get a booth near the kitchen. Because then you're more likely to come across it. And then you just take the spoon and smooth it over a little bit. Nobody notices. Not that I've done that before or anything, but just.
Anyway, but yeah, she has a horn, so I could have put it on there. But so Applejack cries on the outside at her brother's wedding in the shade of the entwined trees. The ceremony is very short, very short. It's like, yes,
Well,
I this is my second Apple family wedding. You pronounce man and husband and wife. It's
I mean, it's about as short as the one in Spaceballs. Do you? Yup.
Yeah.
Do you? Yup. Okay, you're man and wife. Kiss.
Yeah, and so that could be just the way they do things, but yeah, it's just like you, yeah, you. It was a Spaceball wedding. Not even as long as that. Just like, but
Or maybe they just cut out the rest of the wedding.
yeah, but they did come down. Yeah, they must have cut between them coming down the aisle, all of the other things, and then cut directly to the final thing, because yeah, they show them walking up because they show them with the crowd, and we can see who's there with them. And outside of the schemers of the episode, we get Burn Oak, Grand Pear, Granny Smith, Goldie Delicious, Apple Rose, and Auntie Applesauce from the Apple side. And then on Sugar Bell's side, we have Double Diamond, Party Favor, and Night Glider. She apparently has lost her parents as well, because he would have still brought them if it was Discord doing it. They would have still brought them. She would have given them like, yeah, this is what they are. This is their mark. Okay, there they are. He could have done that, but considering they don't show up, and I don't know, maybe there was a deep rift after she joined the cult. I don't know, but it's still, especially after she left the cult, the cult was undone, and she's getting married to a nice, farmhand.
He seems pretty stable.
Horse puns. Let's see, and then so the wedding party proper has all the cast of the episode plus AJ and Mare. Discord gives the pair a singing apple send off. It's like, Discord, well, hang on, let me have this.
Wedding apples.
Happy marriage, happy apples.
And now I'm just waiting for Discord to propose to Fluttershy.
That'd be a proposal and a half to see.
Yeah, that's the movie plot.
The whole thing is just an hour and a half of Discord trying to propose to Fluttershy, but crazy things keep happening.
Yeah, everything gets in the way.
uh, but
The actual plot is Discord's trying to propose to Fluttershy, but then this entire adventure, and they have to save Equestria again. And at the end, Discord's just like, I give up.
or no. At the end of it, Fluttershy proposes to him.
Yeah.
Because we've seen in this episode that in Equestria, it goes both ways.
Well, of course, especially since there's clearly so many lesbians.
Yeah. Well, just anybody could propose to anybody. It's not a male, not a typical male proposing to female thing. Because Sugar Bell was proposing to Big Mac. So I don't know if that how common that is, but we know it happens, and they don't seem like a weird out there case. They seem like fairly normal, culturally sort of, you know, aligning ponies. They don't really go weird.
Besides that, it seems to be a fairly matriarchal society.
Yeah, and to a certain extent, I I know they've done analyses on this, but I don't remember when and what they came up with about, because it always seemed like there were way more mares in Ponyville than
Yeah.
stallions. But that they've also said, well, we don't see all the stallions, and they could be farming, and they're all farming, and the mares are in town.
Yes, they are slaves to the mares.
They're drones, basically. Like I said, it's matriarchal. The stallions are drones, and the only reason Big Mac isn't is because his sisters own him. And now his wife owns him.
Anyway. But it was a sweet sort of penultimate sort of week of Pony. Because this weekend we get everything. All the rest of the series is coming out in an hour and a half.
And do we know when the movie is supposed to?
I don't know offhand. It's sort of been uh
I'm beginning to think that movie was just that TV special when they went to that Rainbow Fake Festival.
Possibly, but that would suck because that Rainbow movie was kind of not awesome.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be another like theater movie. Although that would be nice.
It would be.
Although it'd be really nice if they premiered the final episode at the theater. I could go see it.
That would be cool.
the final 3 episodes as a thing at a
They did that for the Doctor Who's movie, the Doctor Who special, the 50th.
The 50th. Yeah, they did
Yeah.
select theaters with that. That would be an interesting.
It's okay. I'll just put on my PlayStation VR headset and make it seem like I'm watching it on the big screen.
There you go. Or for those who don't have one of those, just take a box that is a little bit bigger than your head, cut a little hole in it, and tape your phone to it. And there you go.
Hey, I got nothing for the episode. It was cute. I squeed, and that's about it.
Yeah.
It was fun.
There was a lot of interesting little things here and there, and I'm sure I didn't catch all of it, but the Lyra Bonbon thing was kind of fun.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to rewatch in order to try to catch that. I was going to rewatch it this morning, but I didn't.
Well, it's the if you're looking for it when the once Discord has has the apples out, proposing and going around, that's when and it's causing chaos in the market. That's when you need to look for it. It'll be in the far back, and it's almost impossible to see unless you've got the timestamp. I think it was like 7 or 8 minutes in I can't remember exactly. But then again, that was also the one I was watching. But so anyway, yeah, if that's all we've got on that, we'll just go ahead and call that an episode.